Hey guys, this is Kamaguno, and today I'm doing a review for Teen Wolf, and this episode's called Orphaned. So, we get to see a lot of Jill in this episode. So if you missed Jill, she was obviously the cliffhanger from last season. We didn't get to see much of Jill in the first half of the season, but now, finally seeing her as a villain, and we get to see some Chris Argent, how she interacts with Chris. But the biggest story is that Liam gets kidnapped by one of the orphan childs who is an assassin, and Scott trying to find him, and in the process, Scott, Jill, and Argent get in a fight. The other half of the story is with Lydia and Styles trying to figure out the rest of this list, and maybe Lydia trying to figure out a little bit about her powers at the same time, talk to Meredith, and that's pretty much what's going on in this episode. And we get to see Jill and Peter interact by the end of this episode too, where Peter might be teaming up with Jill by the end. What did I think about the episode? I thought it was okay. I don't think it blew my mind this week. I expected a little bit more just because we wait for Teen Wolf every week in anticipation. And with this episode, I think it was a little bit slower than usual. Not so much going on. Of course, it's Teen Wolf, so it's not a really slow episode. But just compared to other Teen Wolf episodes, this was just a little slower. Using less characters, but of course, there's still information being told here. And there's actually big information being told. So let's get past that part, and I'll tell you guys what I thought was a little iffy about this episode. We find out that Derek might die. Now, this is a big thing. Everyone loves Derek. I love Derek. We all love Derek. And he's always getting hurt. We all feel bad for Derek. He can never be happy. And Lydia predicts to open up this the last half of the Deadpool that Derek will die. And she's a banshee, so it probably is right. But I have a feeling, because this season's so much of Lydia controlling her powers, maybe she'll be able to figure out how to prevent death. And I think that's really a goal with having Derek on the list. I just don't feel like they're going to kill off another regular character, especially a big character like Derek. I think a lot of Derek fans would be upset, so I have a feeling they're not going to do that just because they killed Allison last season. But it's Teen Wolf, you never know. But I have a feeling this is just going to push the limits of Lydia and really the whole pack of not getting Derek to die. Especially with Scott. Scott is just like, I don't want anyone to die in this whole entire pack. I just can't see any more people die. Maybe you should have mentioned Allison. That's a different story. But he felt very Peter Parker to me, Spider-Man, because he has the money. His mom's having the money problems, which kind of came out of nowhere, but it's coming out in this episode, that she's having money problems. He has money in his hand. What does he do with it? And then he's taking all this responsibility because he has all this power. So this whole episode, I thought he felt like Peter Parker to me, which is awesome, because I always feel like Scott's that type of character anyways. But it's cool to see the money problems and his morality. Will he keep the money? What's going to go on with this money? So that should be pretty interesting. And then we also have Scott's father who gets hurt in this episode. So with Scott's father, I'm glad he didn't, I don't think he died. They said he was okay in the hospital, because I think his story, if he died in this episode, I'd be like, why bring him in if we haven't really gotten that progression between Scott and his father? So it's interesting that his father is going to be a little bit more into the season. Maybe you'll actually find out that Scott's a werewolf. I have a feeling he probably will by the end of the season. But yeah, it's cool that they're trying to add him. I don't know. I just feel like he's a little bit of outside character. They're trying to utilize him, but his complete story is getting pushed to the side because we have the benefactor, Jill. We have all these other stories going on. So I don't know if Scott's father's storyline is the most important, but they're trying to add him in, which I think is cool. We get to see that ending with Jill and Peter. I think that's a big moment because I think we all predicted this season, if they're going back to the roots of season 1, Peter's going to be a villain, and why not team up with Jill? I think it's an interesting team up. It's not out of his character, so to see Peter as a villainous character again is always fun. So I'm really looking forward to see Jill and Peter team up in some way, and Peter backstab everybody. We know that's going to happen, but maybe Malia will actually change things for Peter, because we still haven't gotten to see them really interact. So she's getting a little closer to the Hales, hanging out with Derek in this episode, so we'll have to see what's going on with Malia. I wish we got to see a little bit more of her. We didn't see anything of Kira in this episode, so that was a little upsetting. But yeah, going to the Lydia thing, let's talk about that. That'll probably be the last portion of the review. Lydia meeting up with Meredith and getting really pissed off at Meredith because she's like, give us the information. It's cool because I think it's also this subconscious thing of Lydia saying, I really want to know what it, like, more information about being a banshee, and this list just means more. And then one of my favorite scenes of this whole episode, next to, you know, finding out Derek might die, which is not my favorite scene because I don't want Derek to die, but going back to the Lydia thing, one of my favorite scenes of the episode is when Meredith screams, and even though everyone hears it, it's this pitch with the banshees that Lydia's ears start to bleed, and I thought that was really cool. And just, we don't know anything about banshee powers, and I think this season, especially again with the Derek stuff, we're going to explore a lot more with that. And then Meredith killing herself and Lydia feeling that's her fault, and Meredith only being the other banshee she knows. I think she's going to probably discover her family lineage a little bit more about the banshee stuff this season. But, you know, having Meredith die, she's like, oh, that's the only banshee I know, what am I going to do? So it's interesting that they're exploring more of the banshee stuff, just very slowly, but at least every episode we're getting something with it. Hopefully episodes to come we'll get even more. But yeah, those are the good stuff. We got some really, like, interesting things, little tidbits for future episodes that I think are going to be interesting. But overall, I don't think the story was really that quick pace. You know, the fight between Jill and Argent and Scott were, you know, it was interesting. It was very, but it was very, here's a punch, let's run away. It was more the interaction, Jill not killing Chris and still having that heart. So I thought those are interesting aspects, but if you're looking for action, it's not really that much of an action-y episode, and they're trying to push Jill, but also have the benefactor story going on at the same time, which is, they're trying to juggle it a little bit too much in this episode. But it's cool to see more Jill, but I want to see her more connected with the benefactor. Obviously, we know she is, but I need to see a little bit more connection. It just kind of felt separate in this episode, and it made it go a little slow. But I still like the episode. It's just not my favorite of the season, but I think there is some cool progression here. Please tell me in the comments below what you thought about this episode, Teen Wolf. Of course, I'll do a review for Teen Wolf next week, which should be on time. Sorry, it's a little late this week. But I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. Guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the right situations. And don't forget to like my Facebook page. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.